Hello, today we are doing Algebra 1, Semester 2, Chapters 2.2 and 2.3 for APEX. We're going to be factoring trinomials. So our last lesson was on factoring when there were 4 terms, and we did factor by grouping. Okay, so we grouped the first 2 terms together, we grouped the second 2 terms together, okay, and then we factored terms out of both of those. That will be used in this today. Okay, so the steps are written out for you, but let's go on ahead and walk through this so that you can see it. Okay, so the first step is always going to be to multiply your A and your C terms. Okay, and I guess really your first step is always to pull out a greatest common factor if there's one. So like if all of these could be divided by 2, I would pull out a 2 first. Okay, but in this case it can't, so let's go on ahead and circle our A and our C terms. Now we're going to multiply those together. So x squared times negative 12 is negative 12x squared. Now I need to make a factor list. My factor list are all numbers that multiply to negative 12x squared. So 1x times negative 12x multiplies to negative 12x squared. Or negative 1x and positive 12x. I have to make sure that I use all the positives and negatives. Okay. So I'm going to keep going. So 2x times negative 6x, or negative 2x times 6x. 3x times negative 4x, or negative 3x times positive 4x. Okay. And then I keep going and I would be at 4, which I've already got. So I'm done. Okay, that's as much of my list as I can do. So now I'm going to look at this middle term. So this middle term is positive 1x. I need to find this pair in here that when I add them together, they equal 1x. So if I added these two together, it would be 1x plus negative 12x. That would give me negative 11x. Okay, so I'm going to go through my list, and it's going to be this pair right here. So negative 3x plus 4x gives me a positive 1x. Okay, so now I'm not going to change this trinomial. I'm just going to change the way it looks. So I'm going to rewrite it. Okay, starting with my x squared. So x squared, and now here there's an x, but instead of x, I'm going to put those 2 factors that I found that are really the same thing as x when I add them together. So minus 3x and plus 4x. So that's still just an x. Now I've just broken it into 2 different things. And then minus 12. And now I've got 4 terms, so I can do my factor by grouping. Okay, so x squared minus 3x, they have an x in common. I'm going to take an x out, and I'm left with x minus 3. 4x minus 12, they have a 4 in common. So I'm left with x minus 3. These 2 match. That's one of my factors. Remember, if they don't match, I've done something wrong. And usually what I see is that you've chosen the wrong pair here. Okay, so you may have chosen 3x and negative 4x, or you may have put all negatives instead, or forgotten to do the negatives. Okay? So that's the first thing you would double check. Okay? And then I have x plus 4. So my 2 factors then are x plus 4 and x minus 3. So if I were to FOIL these back together, I would get this answer right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at another problem. So the first thing, I'm going to look for a greatest common factor. I don't see one. Okay. I'm going to circle my A, and I'm going to circle my C. So x squared times 6 is 6x squared. I need to make my factor list. So that's going to be 1x times 6x. And you guys will see, as I go, sometimes I forget to put the x's because I know they have to be there. Okay? But not just positive 1x and positive 6x, negative 1x times negative 6x also equals 6x squared. Then we can do 2x times 3x, or negative 2x times negative 3x. We're going to circle the pair that adds to positive 5. Okay, so that's this pair right here. And now we're going to rewrite this trinomial, but instead of this positive 5x, we're going to replace it with those 2 factors that add up to 5x. And now I'm going to do my factor by grouping because I have 4 terms. X squared plus 2x. They have a factor, greatest common factor of x. So if I take an x out, I'm left with x plus 2. 3x plus 6, I can take a 3 out, and I'm left with x plus 2. Okay. So these match. That's a good thing. If not, we've done something wrong. And remember to come and check this list first and make absolutely sure that you chose the correct factor pair. And my other factor pair is x plus 3. Okay, so my factors here are x plus 3 and x plus 2. So that's my final answer. Okay, so notice on these two that there was a 1 right here, okay, an invisible 1. Now we're going to work on somewhere it does not have a 1, okay, but it's going to be done the exact same way. Okay, so let's go on ahead and do this. So we have a 7x squared and a 2. Okay, first thing, can I factor out a greatest common factor? No, I can't. Okay, so now I'm going to do 7x squared times 2, which is 14x squared. Now I'm going to make my factor list. So 1x, 14x, negative 1x, and negative 14x. And I'm going to keep going 2x and 7x, or negative 2x and negative 7x. So this is the correct pair. So now I'm going to rewrite this and replace my negative 9x with those two. So I'm just rewriting this trinomial. So 7x squared, and instead of negative 9x, I'm going to put minus, and it doesn't matter what order I had them in here. I can change them or I can leave them. Okay, so I'm going to change them just because I know that there's a 7 here, and if I have a 7 there, I can take 7 out. It doesn't matter if you leave it the other way, though. It's going to work out the same. Okay, minus 2x plus 2. Okay, now I'm going to do my factor by grouping. Okay, so in this first parentheses, I can take an x out, and I can take a 7 out. So I'm going to take a 7x out, and I'm left with x minus 1. In this second parentheses, I can take a positive 2 out. However, let's take a look at this. If I take a positive 2 out, I'm going to be left here with a negative x plus 2, or plus 1, sorry. And those will not match. Okay? So in this case, I have to take a negative 2 out, because negative 2x divided by negative 2 is positive x, and 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. Okay? Remember, these have to match. If not, you've done something wrong. So that's one of my factors. And my other factor is 7x minus 2. All right, and now I'm going to go on ahead here, and I'm going to do the same thing. So my A and my C, 2x squared times negative 5 is negative 10x squared. I need to find my factors, 1 and negative 10, or negative 1 and 10, and you noticed I've dropped my x's off. Remember, these x's are still here, okay? So when you're making your list, if you're going to forget that, make sure that you put your x's there. Sorry. Then I have 2x and negative 5x, or negative 2x and positive 5x. I need the pair that adds to positive 9. So that pair is this one right here. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite my trinomial, 2x squared, but instead of my plus 9x, I'm replacing it with these two, minus 1x plus 10x minus 5. Okay, and now I'm going to do my factor by grouping. So out of this first pair, I can take an x. 2x squared divided by x is 2x. Negative 1x divided by x is negative 1. Okay, 10x and negative 5, I can take a 5 out of here. So that's going to be 10x divided by 5 is 2x. Negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1. Remember, you need to make sure the signs are the same. If not, take out something of the different sign there. Okay, these match exactly, so I know I've done this right. And here I have my two factors. So x plus 5 and 2x minus 1. Okay, so let's take a look at what exactly we're doing when we're factoring. Okay? So when we're factoring, we're using these tiles, these algebra tiles. So here I've got represented 6x squared. Okay. I've got 17 x's, and I've got 12 constants. Okay. And they're all in a rectangle. So remember that when we do this, we have to make sure that we form a rectangle. And then we're really, anytime we're multiplying, we're finding an area. So what would we have to multiply? What would this side times this side have to be in order to get this area? Well, x squared breaks down to x times x. X squared breaks down to x times x. X squared breaks down to x times x. Okay, and you see where I'm going with this. Okay, so x breaks down to an x times 1. X times 1. X times 1. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm working backwards now. So now if I look at this, this is 3 x's plus 4. Okay, and this side has 2 x's plus 3. So if I take those and I FOIL them together, I would get 6x squared plus 17x plus 12. So the tiles, or the factorization that's shown by the tiles, is that this right here, okay, factors down to 3x plus 4 and 2x plus 3. Okay, so remember, we're really just doing our area backwards. Okay, we're finding out if this is our total area, well, what's our length and our width? What are we multiplying together to get this total area? Okay. All right, so make sure that you practice that. Once again, factoring is really important. You're going to continue to use it all through algebra, and have a great day.